Hey boys and girls, it's Ray, back with a new video. And this time we're going to talk about a few things. First, how's everybody doing? Yeah, it's kind of a question you can't answer, is it? You can answer in the comments. But anyway, yeah, speaking of comments, leave a comment if you liked the video. Also like and subscribe. I could always use the subscribers. So thank you very much. But yeah, let's get right into it. I want to talk about a couple of things that over the years, there's a few CDs I've picked up and of the shim variety. And first is, well, love this CD. And incidentally with these, they didn't use compression on them, so they sound very, very open and they sound very dynamic. Great sounding CDs. And those are the Rush shim CDs. Signals, so they were lucky enough to pick that one up for a decent price. And their most successful album ever, Moving Pictures, which sounds amazing. And Permanent Waves, another one that sounds great. And they're in the mini LP format. So as you can tell, you just, boom, take it out. Looks just like a small vinyl record case. Yeah, really nifty. And then the CD just kind of slides out right there. And then it has the OB strip on inside. Yep. Yeah, I found these at a local record store called Gray Whale Records. That's here in Ogden, Utah. So if anybody wants to shop there, go tell them that Ray sent you. And ask for E. He's the manager. And also some really great CDs that I picked up. I bought these on Amazon, and these are the Elton John shim CDs. These actually sound really good too. Madman Across the Water, Tumbleweed Connection, Don't Shoot Me, I'm the Piano Player, or I'm Only the Piano Player, excuse me. Let's see, all right. Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy, yeah. Brown Dirt Cowboy. Elton John was, well, he is a strange dude, but hey, you know, when you make records like he does, you can be as strange as you want. Let's see, Honky Chateau, another good one. I wouldn't say he's strange, he just, his choices of album titles are a little strange. And Greatest Hits, Volume 1. And then another one I found this at, once again, found it at Gray Whale, which I thought was great, and that is Miles Davis Master Sound CD. I don't think this is a shim CD. No, it's Sony, so it's definitely not going to be a shim CD. It's a digitally remastered using 20-bit super bit mapping technology and recently upgraded US masters. Classic LP graphics, available for a limited time only, a must-have for any Miles fan. Ooh, must-have. Okay, so there you go. Yep, and that's it for those special ones right there. I mean, there are some other ones that sound decent that I've picked up. You know, I think I mentioned these already, and that is Tom Petty, Full Moon Fever, and also Def Leppard, Hysteria, both on shim CD. Yeah, great sounding CDs are hard to come by because, well, as I always talk about, all the compression, and nobody likes compression. Now, another good format that people, well, not a lot of people are aware of, is the XRCD format. And a couple of titles that I got that aren't Blue Note is Tiger Okoshi, Color of Soil, and George Kawaguchi's The Big Four. Both excellent sounding jazz CDs. Yeah, a lot of good stuff. Lots and lots of good stuff. Yeah, there's wasn't able to dig up any, you know, upcoming releases that are going to be of any substance. I mean, I could always check and then get back to everybody. And of course, the next batch of the Blue Note 85 CDs is a ways off. We got to wait until, what, October? Or maybe it's next month. Yeah, maybe sometime next month we'll get those. We got 3 more waves dropping, and I imagine at some point they'll announce some more. And that'll be good news for everybody that collects those CDs. Now, another side note I want to talk about is, I see this all the time, and that is people, the argument, what sounds better, CD or vinyl? Okay, I'm going to touch that one. I'm going to offer my 2 cents on it, and this is what I think. I think Well, I think what the deal is, excuse me, is when it comes to CDs. If CDs are from the master tape, if they, what they'll do generally is they'll do like, they'll play back, at least in early days of CDs, they would play back to master tape, and then they would have a bank of CD recorders. And these would just get, well, I think it was a little bit more detailed than that. I mean, it was, because I don't know how it worked back then, how they made CDs. I mean, that was back in the 80s, and I was still just a teenager, so, yeah. But, CDs back then sounded great, and that's because they didn't tinker around with them too much. They just left them alone. Master tape, CD, there you go. And then, of course, the loudness war started, and come to find out, Oasis is to blame for that. And I do believe it's What's the Story, Morning Glory was a very loud album, and they kicked off the loudness war. And of course, the winners of the loudness war were Metallica with Death Magnetic. And I think I've already talked about that one, but that one was so loud that they had to recall it and replace it. And of course, it sounded so much better on Guitar Hero. And everybody wanted it on Guitar Hero, but nobody cared, least of all Metallica. But when you're multi-million-dollar or multi-millionaires, you tend to forget about your fans to a certain extent, I would say. So, I mean, your rich fans, you might cater to them, but your average fans, not so much. And even when they released their vinyl, there's 45 RPM box sets that they came out with. Those were supposed to be bigger, faster, and louder, but they used compression on those. But going back to the topic, vinyl or CD? It depends. If you take an analog tape and you record that analog tape to DSD, and then from DSD, you take that and then you cut the record, saying that DSD is indistinguishable from the master tape, you're going to get a great sounding vinyl record. Now, the same should hold true for if you're doing an SACD the same way, but that's not always the case, because nobody ever wants to leave things alone. They want to tinker. I mean, at least with vinyl, I mean, you're limited in how much dynamic range you can put on a vinyl record, which is a good thing, because you get something that's closer to the source, which it is. Vinyl is always going to be closer to the source, period. There's, it's the nature of the beast. I mean, even if you get a great sounding CD, I mean, I just pointed out that these Rush CDs sounded fantastic, but an original pressing of moving pictures on vinyl is going to crush the CD. Sorry. That's just the way it is. I mean, a lot of you aren't going to agree with me on that, but that is just the way it is. We hear in analog. We don't hear digital. So, I mean, everything has to go back to analog. I mean, even when you're listening to CDs, it has to go back to analog. You're not getting digital sound. Digital sound is basically when you put like in the old days, if you put a CD into a CD drive on a computer that didn't play music, just make make that screechy sound. That's what digital sounds like, until it gets processed to a digital analog converter. So it has to go, you're basically going from analog tape to digital, then from digital back to analog. And then you're left at the mercy of the digital analog converter. Now, there's a lot of people out there that say all digital analog converters designed properly will sound the same. Wrong. No. Certain digital analog converters are going to sound better than others, period. That's just the way it is. And if you can't hear it, then you can't hear it. I mean, plain and simple, you just can't hear it. And that means your hearing is not up to par. I mean, that's not an insult, but some people just can't hear the difference. Other people can. I have heard the difference. Hands down, I've heard the difference of what a DAC makes. I mean, is it night and day? I wouldn't say anything's night and day, but it's pretty close. I mean, you get a lot more information with just a better DAC. I mean, it's kind of like using a better stylus on your turntable, better cartridge. I mean, a better cartridge, better sound. I mean, better DAC, better sound. I mean, there's people out there who make fantastic DACs. I mean, there is a company online that, well, I won't say their name because I don't know if that's SCHIIT. They make great DACs. I mean, there's also Chord makes great DACs. There's a lot of companies out there that make great DACs. Some companies make expensive DACs. There's the Denafrips. I mean, prices just go up and up and up and up, just like cartridges do. I mean, you can buy a cartridge for like $15,000, $16,000, and you slap it on your turntable. I mean, yeah, it gets pretty crazy. But yeah, now, of course, conversely, if something is recorded digital to begin with, Well, that's actually another strange one too. Now, if you record something digitally, like back in the day, Dire Straits, Brothers in Arms, for example, that was recorded digitally, but that was limited. I mean, it wasn't. I think that was just 1644. But when they released on SACD, MoFi, they released on SACD and they released on 45 RPM vinyl. Once again, the vinyl sounded better, and I think the reason being is because it's just, yeah, that's a tough one to explain. Yeah, that's really tough. But all I know is that the record just had a lot more to it than the SACD did. And maybe they tinkered with it. Maybe it was just a different mastering because they used two different people to master records and SACD. Rarely do we get apples and apples when it comes to SACD versus vinyl. But now, if you record something in DSD and then put it on an SACD, yeah, that's going to sound fantastic. And even if you put that on vinyl, it's still going to sound fantastic. And sometimes people even say, I know Paul McGowan over at PS Audio, I mean, he would always say that if you do the DSD, and cut it to record, the record sounds better. Now, I don't know if he was talking about other SACDs or the ones that he produces through Octave Audio, which I actually have one. Where? Yeah. It's Fox Feather, The Nature of Things. And that is Octave Audio, PS Audio's own label. Yeah, good stuff, really good stuff. It sounds fantastic. But I mean, when you're dealing with DSD, you're dealing with up to 120 dB of dynamic range, theoretically. So I mean, when you're going from DSD to DSD, you're getting all that dynamic range. But again, if you go DSD to a vinyl record, you're losing a lot of that dynamic range. But why does the record sound so good? I don't know. But, Japanese, they don't necessarily make a specific type of vinyl record, although super vinyl was invented by JVC. Incidentally, XRCD was invented by JVC as well. So super vinyl, that's what the Japanese used back in the 70s and 80s. When everybody else was using recycled vinyl because of the oil crisis, Japanese were still cutting records using virgin vinyl, and in some cases using super vinyl. I have a copy of Steely Dan Gaucho on vinyl, Japanese pressing, and it's on super vinyl. And it sounds really quiet, and it sounds really good. And how does it compare to the SACD that Shim released? I don't know, because I don't have that SACD anymore. I'm waiting on the new Analog Productions SACD of Gaucho, which has yet to be released. But yeah, I mean, I would kind of lead towards vinyl myself. I mean, I know that's kind of crazy considering that this channel is all about Japanese CD digital formats. But yeah, I do like vinyl. I find I listen to vinyl more. But I do listen to my CDs. I'm not gonna lie. Actually, which brings me to my next point. My brother was over in Japan, and I had him stop at Tower Records, and he found these. I think I might have pointed these out before. I'm not sure, but this is the Prestige 60th anniversary, and those are those are just regular plain old CDs. Yeah, I mean, look at that. Replicates the original vinyl record. Nice shiny disc, excellent shape, and these were all the Rudy Van Gelder remasters. I mean, everybody likes to tinker with Rudy Van Gelder's recordings, but sometimes they sound better if they're just left alone. But yeah, I have which one is this? This is Monk, Thelonious Monk Quintet. Quintet, yep. Miles Davis and the Modern Jazz Giants. Thelonious Monk and Sonny Rollins. And Red Garland Quintet with John Coltrane. Dig it. And then one of my favorites, the new Miles Davis Quintet, Miles. And incidentally, tomorrow, this is actually dropping on vinyl from Contemporary Records or Craft Recordings, because they're doing those original jazz classic series. They're redoing those, and those are kind of cool because they have an Obi strip just like most Japanese records. So, but yeah, I mean, I hope this video was informative. I know it wasn't the usual video that I make, but I wanted to make a video nonetheless because I haven't made one, and I've been on for a week, so I figured I'd owe you that much. But anyway, I hope that all of you are enjoying whatever format you prefer, whether it be CD, whether it be SACD, DVD audio, or Blu-ray Quadio, or vinyl, or if you please, even 8-track or cassette. I mean, whatever you like. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what matters the most, how you enjoy your music. I mean, you know, music is meant to stir the soul, to have an emotional impact on us. And I know I'm always talking about the loudness word, because I think the loudness diminishes that. The louder you make a recording, you know, the worse it sounds. And I mean, granted, can it still stir something up inside you emotionally? Absolutely. But just imagine if it was just played back the way it was when they did it in the studio. You know, most of that's irrelevant now anyway, because nobody uses the studio anymore. They record in their own bedrooms, or they use auto-tune or whatever that crap's called. I don't know. But, you know, it is what it is. I mean, you know, music is changing, and that's unfortunate. I mean, luckily I'm on the, you know, tail end of that change. I'm not on the front end of it, so I don't have to worry about it getting worse. I got into music in the 80s when it sounded fantastic, and, you know, up to the loudness war. And, you know, now here we are with audiophile releases that sound better sometimes than even the originals. But, you know, keep listening. You know, music is always going to be around no matter what happens. I mean, music's always going to be around. And whether you believe in heaven or not, when you go to heaven, music's going to be there too. And you can enjoy it there. I mean, you can just, you know, getting off on a weird note. I mean, when you think about it, you look at all the giants that passed, you know, Jim Morrison, Jimi Hendrix, Miles Davis, John Coltrane. You look at all these giants of music, and then you think to yourself, it's like, I wonder what they're doing up there. You know, I wonder how much fun they're having. Are they jamming together? I mean, wouldn't it be awesome to see Miles Davis and Jimi Hendrix just jamming together? I think that would be fantastic. But it's one of those things we're not going to see until we get there. So, hey, you know, something to look forward to. That's all. But anyway, I want to thank you all for watching. And once again, please like, please subscribe, and leave a comment. Any comments welcome. You know, I'm not offended by anything. So I mean, if you don't like what I posted, you know, you don't like the content of my video, just please tell me. You know, I had somebody leave me a comment the other day about how I'm not holding up the CDs higher, so I took it to heart, and I'm holding up higher so that way everybody can see them. But thank you for watching, and everybody have a fantastic week and a fantastic weekend, and we'll catch you on the next video. Bye.